Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany, the fairy tale dream in the Bavarian Alps. Welcome, dear listener, and welcome to the first chapter of our enchanting journey through the most beautiful castles in Europe. Tonight, as you settle into the comfort of your bed and let the day's worries drift away, we invite you to imagine yourself standing before a castle so magical it seems to have leapt straight from the pages of a fairy tale. Picture its white towers piercing the sky, its walls glowing in the moonlight, and the distant peaks of the Bavarian Alps cradling it like a precious gem. This is Neuschwanstein Castle, our first stop in a series that will carry you through the history and beauty of Europe's most breathtaking fortresses. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and let the story of this dreamy castle guide you gently toward sleep. A castle born from a king's imagination. Our tale begins in the 19th century in the heart of Bavaria, Germany. Here, a young king named Ludwig II ascended to the throne in 1864 at just 18 years old. Unlike many rulers, Ludwig was not driven by conquest or power. Instead, he was a dreamer, a lover of art, music, and the romantic ideals of a bygone era. His greatest passion was the operas of Richard Wagner, whose tales of knights, gods, and mythical realms stirred Ludwig's soul. It was from these stories that the idea for Neuschwanstein Castle was born. Ludwig envisioned a castle that would be more than just a royal residence. It would be a living tribute to the legends he adored. He chose a dramatic location high above the village of Hohenschwangau, where his family's old castle already stood. From this perch, Neuschwanstein would rise, its towers reaching toward the heavens, its walls a canvas for the stories that filled Ludwig's dreams. But what inspired this young king to create such a masterpiece? Was it simply love for art, or was there something deeper driving him? In 1869, construction began. Ludwig spared no expense, hiring the finest architects, artists, and craftsmen to bring his vision to life. The castle's design was a blend of Romanesque, Gothic, and Byzantine styles, creating a look that was both timeless and otherworldly. Yet as the walls rose, so did the whispers. Some called Ludwig eccentric, others whispered of madness. He was a king out of step with his time, more interested in his fairy tale retreat than the affairs of state. But Ludwig pressed on, determined to see his dream realized. Little did he know, his castle would one day become a symbol of romance and wonder for the entire world. A tour through a fairy tale. Now, let us step inside Neuschwanstein and explore its enchanting halls. As you walk through the castle's grand entrance, you are greeted by the throne room, a space so magnificent it feels like stepping into a cathedral. Golden mosaics shimmer on the ceiling, depicting angels and saints, while the floor gleams with intricate patterns. At the far end, where a throne should sit, there is only an empty space. Ludwig never completed it, perhaps a reflection of his own unfulfilled dreams. Next, we enter the Singers' Hall, a tribute to Wagner's opera Tannhäuser. Here, the walls come alive with murals of knights and maidens, their stories unfolding in vibrant color. Imagine the sound of music filling this hall, as Ludwig once dreamed, with performers bringing his beloved operas to life. The hall's high windows frame views of the Alps, blurring the line between art and nature. But Neuschwanstein's magic doesn't end with its interiors. The castle's exterior is equally breathtaking. Its white limestone walls gleam against the backdrop of dark forests and snow-capped peaks. The towers, slender and graceful, seem to touch the sky, while the courtyard offers a peaceful retreat with fountains and gardens that invite quiet reflection. It's no wonder that Neuschwanstein is often called the fairy tale castle. It is a place where reality and fantasy intertwine. The king who lived in a dream. To truly understand Neuschwanstein, we must understand the man behind it. King Ludwig II was a complex figure, a romantic soul trapped in a world that demanded pragmatism. He was deeply shy, preferring solitude to the bustle of court life. As a child, he had wandered the halls of his family's castles, lost in daydreams of chivalry and heroism. When he became king, he saw Neuschwanstein as a way to escape the pressures of his role and retreat into a world of his own making. Ludwig's love for Wagner's operas was more than admiration, it was an obsession. He saw himself as a modern-day knight, a protector of art and beauty in a rapidly industrializing world. Neuschwanstein was his sanctuary, a place where he could live out his fantasies. But his devotion to this dream came at a cost. The castle's construction drained Bavaria's treasury, and Ludwig's ministers grew increasingly frustrated with his detachment from politics. In 1886, they declared him unfit to rule and placed him under house arrest. Just days later, Ludwig was found dead in a lake under mysterious circumstances. Was it an accident or something more sinister? To this day, the truth remains elusive. A castle that inspired the world. Though Ludwig never saw his castle completed, his vision lived on. Neuschwanstein was opened to the public just weeks after his death, and it quickly became a sensation. Visitors from around the world flocked to see the fairy tale castle, marveling at its beauty and the tragic story of the king who built it. But perhaps the castle's greatest legacy lies in its influence on popular culture. In the 1950s, Walt Disney visited Neuschwanstein and was so inspired that he used it as the model for Sleeping Beauty's castle in Disneyland. Today, millions of people recognize its silhouette, even if they don't know its name. Neuschwanstein has also appeared in films, books, and even video games, cementing its status as a symbol of romance and fantasy. But beyond its fairy tale image, the castle holds a deeper meaning, a testament to one man's unwavering pursuit of beauty in a world that often overlooks it. A journey through time and imagination. Today, Neuschwanstein Castle stands as one of Europe's most beloved landmarks. Visitors can explore its lavishly decorated rooms, walk along its ramparts, and take in the stunning views of the surrounding landscape. The castle's guided tours offer a glimpse into Ludwig's world, from his ornate bedroom to the hidden grotto inspired by Wagner's operas. And for those who visit in winter, the sight of Neuschwanstein blanketed in snow is nothing short of magical. But perhaps the true magic of Neuschwanstein lies in its ability to transport us, to make us feel for a moment like we've stepped into a storybook. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine yourself wandering through its halls, the soft glow of candlelight guiding your way. Picture the mountains standing guard outside, their peaks kissed by the stars. This is the world Ludwig dreamed of, a world where beauty reigns supreme. And so, our first journey through Europe's most beautiful castles comes to a close. But fear not, dear listener, for our adventure has only just begun. In the next chapter, we will travel to the sun-drenched hills of France, where a palace of unparalleled grandeur awaits. Until then, let the towers of Neuschwanstein linger in your dreams, and may you rest well under their watchful gaze. Palace of Versailles, France, the jewel of French royalty. Nestled just outside the bustling city of Paris, the Palace of Versailles stands as one of the most iconic symbols of French royal power and extravagance. Its glittering halls, sprawling gardens, and rich history have captivated the world for centuries. Once a humble hunting lodge, it was transformed into a dazzling palace that became the heart of France's monarchy and a stage for some of history's most pivotal moments. As we journey through its story, let us explore the grandeur of Versailles, the visionaries who shaped it, and the legacy it left behind, from hunting lodge to royal palace. Our story begins in the early 17th century, in a quiet patch of forest where King Louis XIII built a small hunting lodge. It was a modest retreat, a place for the king to escape the pressures of court life and indulge in his love of the hunt. But it was his son, Louis XIV, who saw something greater in this unassuming lodge. Known as the Sun King, Louis XIV was a monarch with a vision as vast as his ambition. He dreamed of a palace that would not only showcase his absolute power, but also serve as a glittering stage for the French court. In 1661, Louis XIV began the transformation of Versailles. What started as a simple expansion soon became one of the most ambitious building projects in history. The king spared no expense, hiring the finest architects, artists, and craftsmen of the age. Over the next few decades, the lodge grew into a sprawling palace, its walls adorned with gold, marble, and priceless art. Versailles became the center of political power in France, a place where nobles, diplomats, and courtiers gathered to bask in the Sun King's radiance. But what drove Louis XIV to create such a masterpiece? Was it merely vanity, or was there a deeper purpose behind its grandeur? For Louis XIV, Versailles was more than a palace. It was a tool of control. By moving the court from Paris to Versailles, he centralized power and kept a watchful eye on the nobility. The palace's opulence was a statement to the world. France was the unrivaled leader of art, culture, and power. And at the heart of it all was the king himself, whose daily routines, from waking to dining, were elaborate rituals that reinforced his divine right to rule, the architecture of a dream. To step into Versailles is to step into a world of unparalleled beauty. The palace's architecture is a stunning blend of Baroque and Rococo styles, characterized by ornate details, sweeping curves, and a sense of movement that brings the space to life. The genius behind this design was a trio of visionaries: architect Louis Lavaux, painter Charles Lebrun, and landscape designer André Lenotte. Together, they created a masterpiece that remains a testament to French artistry. One of the palace's most famous features is the Hall of Mirrors, a breathtaking gallery lined with 357 mirrors that reflect the light from the grand windows overlooking the gardens. The hall's ceiling, painted by Lebrun, depicts the triumphs of Louis XIV, while its chandeliers and gilded statues add to the sense of awe. Imagine walking through this hall, the mirrors casting endless reflections, as if stepping into a dream where reality and illusion blur. But Versailles' beauty extends far beyond its walls. The gardens of Versailles, designed by Le Nôtre, are a marvel of symmetry and elegance. Stretching over 800 hectares, the gardens are adorned with fountains, sculptures, and perfectly manicured lawns. The Grand Canal, a shimmering waterway, reflects the sky and adds a sense of infinite space. On warm summer evenings, the gardens come alive with the sound of music and the glow of lanterns, as they did in Louis XIV's time. What stories do these gardens hold? What secrets lie beneath their tranquil surface? A stage for history. Versailles was not just a palace, it was a stage where history unfolded. Over the centuries, its halls witnessed moments that shaped the world. In 1783, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, ending the American Revolutionary War and recognizing the independence of the United States. It was a quiet moment in a palace known for grandeur, but its impact echoed across the Atlantic. Just a few years later, in 1789, Versailles became the epicenter of the French Revolution. The opulence that once symbolized royal power now fueled the anger of a starving populace. When revolutionaries stormed the palace, they dragged King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette back to Paris, marking the beginning of the end for the French monarchy. The palace, once a symbol of absolute power, stood silent as the revolution raged. But its story was far from over. In 1919, Versailles once again took center stage with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War I. World leaders gathered in the Hall of Mirrors to negotiate the terms of peace, their pens scratching out a new chapter in history. The treaty's consequences would ripple through the 20th century, shaping the world we know today. How did a palace built for kings become the setting for such monumental events? What is it about Versailles that draws history to its doors? The people who shaped Versailles. To truly understand Versailles, we must look beyond its walls and into the lives of those who called it home. Louis XIV, the Sun King, was the architect of its glory. His reign, the longest in European history, was defined by his belief in absolute monarchy. Yet for all his power, he was a man of contradictions, devout yet indulgent, visionary yet isolated. Versailles was his legacy, a monument to his reign that outlasted even his own dynasty. Then there was Marie Antoinette, the ill-fated queen whose name became synonymous with extravagance. She lived at Versailles during its twilight years, her lavish lifestyle a stark contrast to the poverty outside the palace gates. Her private retreat, the Petit Trianon, was a sanctuary where she could escape the rigid etiquette of court life. But even there, she could not escape the tides of history. Her tragic end at the guillotine marked the fall of the monarchy and the end of an era. Finally, Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor who rose from the ashes of the revolution, saw Versailles as a symbol of power. Though he never lived there, he restored parts of the palace and used it for grand ceremonies. For Napoleon, Versailles was a tool to legitimize his rule, a way to connect his empire to the glory of France's past. What drew these larger-than-life figures to Versailles? Was it the palace's beauty, its history, or something more? A legacy that endures. Today, the Palace of Versailles is one of the most visited landmarks in the world. Its halls, once filled with courtiers and kings, now welcome millions of visitors each year. The palace has been meticulously preserved, its rooms restored to their former glory. Visitors can walk through the king's grand apartment, marvel at the queen's bedchamber, and lose themselves in the vast gardens. Special exhibitions and events, such as the musical fountains show, bring the palace's history to life, allowing us to experience a glimpse of its past splendor. But Versailles is more than a museum. It is a living testament to the heights of human creativity and the complexities of power. Its story reminds us that beauty and tragedy often walk hand in hand, and that even the grandest dreams can crumble. Yet through it all, Versailles endures, its golden gates standing as a gateway to a world of wonder. Alcázar of Segovia, Spain, the castle that sailed through time. Perched high on a rocky outcrop where two rivers meet, the Alcázar of Segovia rises like a ship cutting through the waves of history. Its towering walls and turrets seem to defy gravity, their golden stone glowing in the Spanish sun. This is no ordinary castle. It is a fortress that has stood for nearly a millennium, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, the clash of faiths, and the birth of a nation. As we journey through its story, you'll discover how this magnificent structure became a symbol of power, resilience, and timeless beauty. What secrets lie within its ancient halls? And how did it survive centuries of turmoil to become one of Europe's most beloved landmarks? A fortress born from conflict. Our tale begins in the 12th century, in a land torn by the Reconquista, the long struggle between Christian kingdoms and Muslim rulers for control of Spain. The Alcázar of Segovia was originally built as a fortress by the Moors, its strategic position offering a commanding view of the surrounding plains. But in 1085, the city of Segovia fell to King Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile, and the Alcázar passed into Christian hands. What would these new rulers make of this formidable stronghold? Under Christian rule, the Alcázar was expanded and transformed. King Alfonso VIII, in particular, saw its potential, fortifying its walls and adding new towers. By the 13th century, it had become a royal residence, a place where kings and queens could retreat from the bustle of court life. But the Alcázar was more than a palace. It was a statement of power, a reminder to all who gazed upon it that the rulers of Castile were here to stay. Yet, as the centuries passed, the castle's role would evolve in ways no one could have predicted, a stage for royalty and rebellion. In the 15th century, the Alcázar of Segovia became a stage for one of Spain's most pivotal moments. It was here in 1474 that Isabella I was proclaimed Queen of Castile, setting in motion a chain of events that would unite Spain and change the course of history. Imagine the scene: the castle's grand hall filled with nobles, the air thick with anticipation as Isabella, dressed in regal splendor, accepted her crown. But her reign was far from secure. Rival claimants and rebellious nobles threatened her rule. How did the Alcázar serve as both a sanctuary and a battleground during these turbulent times? The castle's walls also witnessed darker chapters. In the 16th century, it was converted into a state prison, its once royal chambers now holding political prisoners and fallen nobles. Among them was the Duke of Medina Sidonia, a man whose ambitions had led him to betray his king. What stories did these prisoners whisper in the dead of night? And what secrets did the Alcázar's dungeons keep? A castle reborn from ashes. The Alcázar's story took a dramatic turn in the 19th century when it became the Royal Artillery College. The castle's halls, once filled with courtiers and kings, now echoed with the footsteps of cadets learning the art of war. But in 1862, tragedy struck. A devastating fire swept through the castle, destroying much of its interior and threatening to reduce its grandeur to ash. The blaze consumed priceless tapestries, intricate woodwork, and centuries of history. Yet from this destruction came an opportunity for rebirth. Under the guidance of architect Antonio Bermejo, the Alcázar was painstakingly restored. Bermejo sought not only to repair the damage, but to enhance the castle's fairy tale appearance. He added taller turrets, steeper roofs, and ornate details that gave the Alcázar its distinctive silhouette, one that would later inspire artists and dreamers around the world. But what drove this transformation? Was it a desire to preserve history or to create something even more magical? A castle that inspired legends. The Alcázar of Segovia is more than a fortress. It is a muse. Its unique shape, resembling the bow of a ship, has captured the imagination of countless visitors. Legend has it that Walt Disney himself was inspired by the Alcázar when designing Cinderella's castle for Disneyland. Whether true or not, the resemblance is uncanny, and the castle's fairy tale charm is undeniable. But beyond its visual appeal, the Alcázar holds a deeper allure. What is it about this castle that stirs the soul and sparks the imagination? One of the castle's most intriguing legends speaks of a secret tunnel connecting the Alcázar to the city's cathedral. According to local lore, this hidden passage was used by kings and queens to move unseen between the two landmarks. Though no such tunnel has ever been found, the story persists, adding to the castle's mystique. What other secrets might lie buried beneath its foundations? A journey through time and stone. Today, the Alcázar of Segovia stands as a museum and a testament to Spain's rich history. Visitors can explore its lavishly decorated rooms, each a window into a different era. The throne room, with its intricate mudéjar ceiling, evokes the grandeur of medieval royalty. The Hall of Kings, lined with statues of Castilian monarchs, tells the story of a dynasty that shaped a nation. And the Tower of John II, with its panoramic views of Segovia, offers a glimpse of the world as it once was. But perhaps the most enchanting part of the Alcázar is its ability to transport us through time. As you walk its halls, you can almost hear the whispers of history, the clash of swords, the laughter of courtiers, the quiet footsteps of a queen pacing in thought. The castle's golden stone, weathered by centuries, seems to glow with the light of 1,000 stories. What tales would its walls tell if they could speak? A castle that sails onward. The Alcázar of Segovia is more than a relic of the past. It is a living monument to the resilience of the human spirit. It has survived wars, fires, and the passage of time, emerging stronger and more beautiful with each challenge. Its silhouette, etched against the Spanish sky, is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, beauty and strength can endure. As we leave the Alcázar behind, we carry with us the echoes of its history, the triumphs and tragedies, the legends and lore. But our journey through Europe's most beautiful castles is far from over. In the next chapter, we will travel to the sun-drenched hills of Portugal, where a palace of vibrant colors and wild dreams awaits. Until then, let the image of the Alcázar, sailing through time like a ship on an endless sea, linger in your thoughts. Pena Palace, Portugal, a dream painted in color. High above the misty hills of Sintra, Portugal, the Pena Palace stands like a vibrant painting splashed across the sky. Its walls burst with red, yellow, and blue, a bold contrast to the lush green forest cradling it below. This isn't just a castle, it's a palace born from the wild imagination of a king who dared to dream in color. Today, we'll unravel the romance, the artistry, and the vision that brought this fairy tale fortress to life. What sparked such a daring creation? And how did it rise to become one of Europe's most cherished treasures? A monastery's ruins and a king's vision. Picture this. It's the 15th century, and atop a rugged hill sits a humble monastery dedicated to Our Lady of Pena. For hundreds of years, monks lived here in quiet devotion, their prayers drifting through the stone corridors. Then, in 1755, the Great Lisbon earthquake rumbled through Portugal, shattering the monastery into ruins. Those broken walls stood silent, abandoned for decades, a forgotten shadow of the past. That is, until a young prince with a poet's heart stumbled upon them. In 1838, King Ferdinand II of Portugal visited the site. Known for his passion for art and nature, he didn't see rubble, he saw a canvas. Swept up in the Romantic movement that was captivating Europe, Ferdinand dreamed of a palace that would dance with the wild beauty of Sintra. He called on architect Baron Wilhelm Ludwig von Eschwege to turn his vision into reality. Together, they wove a design that blended Gothic spires, Renaissance curves, and Moorish domes into a dazzling tapestry of color and shape. But what fueled Ferdinand's ambition? Was it love, artistry, or something deeper, a palace like no other? Step through the gates of Pena Palace, and you're plunged into a world where fantasy meets reality. The outside is a riot of color. Red towers pierce the sky, yellow battlements glow like the sun, and blue tiles gleam in the light. It's a patchwork of styles. Gothic arches soar, Manueline windows twist, and Islamic minarets rise, all stitched together with a playful charm. The palace feels alive, growing naturally from the hilltop, its terraces and courtyards spilling into the forest around it. Inside, the magic deepens. The stag room, with its vaulted ceiling and carved wood, feels like a page from a medieval tale. The Arab room, draped in intricate tiles and patterns, whisks you to a far-off land. And the chapel, with stained glass windows spilling rainbows across the stone, offers a hushed moment of awe. Every room whispers a story, begging you to linger and listen. What secrets are tucked into these walls? What dreams did Ferdinand etch into their design? A love story written in stone. At the core of Pena Palace beats a love story. King Ferdinand II adored his wife, Queen Maria II, and later his second wife, Countess Elisa Hensler. This palace wasn't just a home, it was a monument to their shared love of art, music, and nature. Ferdinand wove his devotion into every detail. Initials entwined in the stone, lush gardens where they could wander together, even the bright colors mirroring his joyful heart. Take the Triton Gate, a whimsical arch guarded by a sea god. It's a symbol of unity, blending land and sea, much like Ferdinand's fusion of styles. The Queen's Terrace, with its sweeping views of the countryside, was a place for quiet inspiration. But love can be fragile. Queen Maria II died young, leaving Ferdinand broken. Did this palace become his refuge, a way to cling to her memory? As we walk these halls, You can almost feel the echoes of his longing, a palace that time forgot. Beauty like this doesn't always last. After Ferdinand's death in 1885, Pena Palace drifted through different hands, its lively halls growing still. By the early 20th century, it was fading, colors dimming, gardens wild and overgrown. It seemed the world had moved on. But in 1910, when Portugal became a republic, the palace was named a national monument, and a new chapter began. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, its brilliance restored. The clock tower, with its ticking gears, stands as a symbol of time marching on, even in a place born from dreams. Visitors from every corner of the globe now wander its paths, drawn by its charm. What is it about Pena Palace that pulls us back, even after all these years? A journey through a painted world. Visiting Pena Palace feels like stepping into a living painting. Beyond the walls lies the Park of Pena, a sprawling 200-hectare wonderland designed by Ferdinand himself. It's a romantic maze of winding trails, secret grottos, and exotic plants gathered from across the globe. The Valley of the Lakes, with its tranquil waters and graceful swans, offers a moment of peace. And if you climb to the Cruz Alta, the highest point in Sintra, you'll see the palace framed against the sky, a sight that steals your breath. The real enchantment? Pena Palace blurs the line between reality and imagination. As you roam its halls and gardens, you can almost hear Ferdinand and his queens laughing, their footsteps lingering in the air. What would it be like to call this place home, where every turn reveals a new marvel, a palace that lives on? Pena Palace is no mere relic. It's a testament to the power of dreams. Ferdinand's vision, once called eccentric, has outlived him, captivating everyone who steps inside. Its bold colors, quirky design, and romantic soul still inspire artists, writers, and dreamers worldwide. In a way, Ferdinand's wish came true. This is a haven where beauty and imagination rule. As we leave Pena Palace behind, its colors linger in our minds, a reminder that dreams can defy time. But our journey isn't over. Next, we'll sail to the misty shores of Scotland, where a castle wrapped in legend awaits. What mysteries will we uncover there? Stay with us, and let's find out together. Donan Castle, Scotland, the sentinel of the Highlands. In the rugged embrace of the Scottish Highlands, where misty lochs meet jagged mountains, stands a castle that seems to have grown from the very rock itself. Donan Castle, perched on a small tidal island where three lochs converge, is a sight that stirs the soul. Its weathered stone walls, crowned with turrets and framed by the ever-changing sky, have witnessed centuries of triumph and tragedy and rebirth. This is not just a castle, it is a sentinel of Scotland's history, a place where legends linger in the mist and the echoes of the past refuse to fade. Join us as we journey through the story of Donan, a fortress that has stood as a guardian of the Highlands for nearly 800 years. A fortress born in the age of clans. Our tale begins in the 13th century, a time when Scotland was a patchwork of warring clans and Viking raiders still prowled the northern seas. It was during this turbulent era that King Alexander II sought to secure the western coast. In 1220, he ordered the construction of a fortress on the island of Donan, a strategic spot where Loch Duich, Loch Long, and Loch Alsh meet. The castle's name, derived from a 6th century Irish saint, Donnan of Aigues, hints at the island's ancient roots. But what drove the king to choose this remote, windswept location? The answer lies in its geography. Aelion Donan was a natural stronghold, accessible only by boat, at high tide, and nearly impregnable. Its position allowed it to control the waterways, guarding against invaders and serving as a base for the powerful Clan Mackenzie, who would later call it home. Over the centuries, the castle grew, its walls thickening, its towers rising higher. By the 14th century, it had become a formidable fortress, complete with a great hall, barracks, and a chapel. Yet as the clans feuded and alliances shifted, Aelion Donan's fate was far from secure, a stage for clan warfare and royal intrigue. The 15th and 16th centuries were a time of fierce clan rivalries, and Aelion Donan found itself at the heart of the storm. The Mackenzies, fierce warriors, and shrewd politicians used the castle as their seat of power. But their dominance was challenged by the MacRaes, the MacDonalds, and other clans vying for control of the Highlands. In 1539, a bloody siege erupted when Donald Gorm MacDonald of Sleat attacked the castle, seeking revenge for the death of his father. The Mackenzies, outnumbered, fought valiantly, but it was a single arrow that turned the tide. Fired by a young MacRae archer, it struck Donald Gorm in the foot. The wound proved fatal, and the siege collapsed. What other tales of bravery and betrayal lie hidden in the castle's stones? The castle's role in history took a dramatic turn in the 17th century during the Jacobite uprisings. The Jacobites, loyal to the exiled Stuart kings, saw Aelion Donan as a rallying point. In 1719, the castle became a staging ground for a Spanish-backed rebellion. A small garrison of Spanish soldiers sent to aid the Jacobites took refuge within its walls. But their dreams of restoring the Stuarts were short-lived. The British Navy, alerted to the plot, sailed into Loch Deutsch and unleashed a barrage of cannon fire. For 3 days, the castle endured, its walls crumbling under the onslaught. When the smoke cleared, Aelion Donan lay in ruins, its once proud towers reduced to rubble. Was this the end of the castle's story? A phoenix rises from the ruins. For nearly 200 years, Aelion Donan lay abandoned, its broken walls a haunting reminder of Scotland's turbulent past. Ivy crept over the stones, and the wind howled through its empty halls. But in the early 20th century, a new chapter began. Lieutenant Colonel John MacRae Gilstrap, a descendant of the MacRae clan, gazed upon the ruins and saw not decay, but potential. With a vision to restore the castle to its former glory, he embarked on a monumental project. From 1919 to 1932, craftsmen worked tirelessly, rebuilding the walls, towers, and bridge that connected the island to the mainland. It was a labor of love, one that would breathe life back into the ancient stones. But what challenges did they face in resurrecting a castle lost to time? The restoration was meticulous, blending historical accuracy with modern craftsmanship. Original plans were scarce, so the team relied on fragments of history, local lore, and architectural clues hidden in the ruins. The result was nothing short of miraculous, a castle that honored its medieval roots while standing as a testament to the resilience of the Scottish spirit. Today, Aelion Donan looks much as it did in its prime, its silhouette etched against the sky, a beacon of the Highlands, a castle steeped in legend and lore. Ilion is more than a fortress. It is a place where history and myth intertwine. One of its most enduring legends speaks of the Spanish cannon, a relic from the 1719 bombardment. According to local lore, a cannonball fired from a British ship lodged itself in the castle's walls, where it remains to this day. Visitors search for it, their fingers tracing the stone, hoping to uncover a piece of the past. But is the tale true, or simply a story spun by time? Another legend whispers of a ghost that haunts the castle's halls, a Spanish soldier left behind after the failed Jacobite uprising. Some say his footsteps echo in the dead of night, a restless spirit bound to the place where his dreams of glory died. Whether fact or fiction, these stories add to the castle's mystique, drawing visitors from across the globe. What is it about Eilean Donan that captures the imagination so completely? A journey through Scotland's soul. Today, Eilean Donan Castle is one of Scotland's most iconic landmarks, its image gracing postcards, films, and even whiskey labels. Visitors can explore its restored rooms, each a window into a different era. The banqueting hall, with its vaulted ceiling and roaring fireplace, evokes the grandeur of clan feasts. The bedrooms, furnished with period pieces, offer a glimpse into the lives of the Mackenzies, and the battlements, with their sweeping views of the lochs and mountains, remind us of the castle's strategic importance. But perhaps the true magic of Eilean Donan lies in its setting. The castle seems to float on the water at high tide, its reflection shimmering in the loch. At dawn, the mist rolls in, wrapping the towers in a veil of mystery, and at sunset, the sky blazes with color, casting a golden glow over the ancient stones. It is a place that feels timeless, a bridge between the past and the present, a castle that stands eternal. Eilean Donan Castle is more than a relic of history. It is a symbol of Scotland's enduring spirit. It has weathered Viking raids, clan wars, and the ravages of time, yet it stands proud, a sentinel watching over the Highlands. Its story reminds us that even in the face of destruction, beauty and strength can be reborn. Chenonceau Castle, France, the Château of Ladies. In the heart of France's Loire Valley, where the river Cher flows gently beneath arched bridges, stands a castle unlike any other. Chenonceau Castle, often called the Château of Ladies, is a masterpiece of elegance, its white stone walls and graceful turrets reflected in the tranquil waters below. But beyond its beauty lies a story of ambition, rivalry, and the remarkable women who shaped its destiny. From queens to mistresses, each left her mark on this enchanting palace, turning it into a symbol of love, power, and resilience. Join us as we journey through the history of Chenonceau, a castle where the echoes of the past still whisper in every hall and garden. A bridge between dreams and reality. Our story begins in the early 16th century, during the golden age of the French Renaissance. King Francis I, a lover of art and architecture, had transformed the Loire Valley into a haven of grand chateaux. But it was one of his courtiers, Thomas Bohier, who first envisioned a castle on the banks of the Cher. In 1513, Bohier and his wife, Catherine Brissonnet, purchased the land and began construction. Catherine, a woman of vision, oversaw the project while her husband was away on royal duties. She dreamed of a castle that would blend the new Renaissance style with the charm of the French countryside. The result was a graceful structure built directly over the river, its arches forming a bridge that connected two worlds. But what drove Catherine to create such an innovative design? Was it simply beauty, or was there a deeper purpose? Chenonceau's unique architecture set it apart from the start. The castle's foundation rested on the riverbed, with the main gallery spanning the Cher like a floating ballroom. Its white stone facade, adorned with turrets and chimneys, seemed to rise from the water itself. The surrounding gardens, meticulously designed, added to its allure. Yet for all its beauty, Chenonceau's early years were marked by debt and uncertainty. When Thomas Bohier died in 1524, the crown seized the castle to settle his unpaid taxes. It was a twist of fate that would tie Chenonceau's future to the women who would come to love and fight for it. A castle shaped by queens and mistresses. In 1547, King Henry II inherited Chenonceau and gifted it to his beloved mistress, Diane de Poitiers. Diane, a woman of intelligence and grace, was more than a royal favorite. She was a shrewd adviser and a patron of the arts. She fell in love with Chenonceau and set about transforming it into a Renaissance jewel. Under her care, the castle's gardens bloomed, and she commissioned the construction of a magnificent bridge over the Cher, connecting the castle to the opposite bank. But Diane's influence extended beyond architecture. She used Chenonceau as a place of power, hosting lavish gatherings that rivaled the royal court. What secrets did she whisper in the king's ear as they strolled through the castle's halls? But Diane's reign at Chenonceau was not to last. When Henry II died in 1559, his widow, Queen Catherine de' Medici, seized control. Catherine, a formidable figure in her own right, had long resented Diane's hold over her husband. She forced Diane to relinquish Chenonceau and took the castle as her own. Catherine's vision for Chenonceau was grander still. She extended the bridge into a two-story gallery, creating a space for extravagant balls and political intrigue. The gallery, with its black and white tiled floor and views of the river, became the heart of the castle. It was here that Catherine plotted to secure her son's futures and maintain her grip on power. But how did this rivalry between two powerful women shape the castle's destiny? A sanctuary in times of turmoil. As the centuries passed, Chenonceau's role evolved. During the French Revolution, when many chateaux were looted or destroyed, Chenonceau was spared, thanks to the quick thinking of its then owner, Louise Dupin. A woman of intellect and charm, Louise had hosted Enlightenment thinkers, like Voltaire and Rousseau, at the castle. When revolutionaries arrived, she convinced them that Chenonceau was a symbol of culture, not monarchy. Her diplomacy saved the castle, preserving its beauty for future generations. What other stories of survival lie hidden in Chenonceau's past? The castle's role as a sanctuary continued into the 20th century. During World War I, it served as a hospital, its gallery transformed into a ward for wounded soldiers. And in World War II, Chenonceau's unique position over the Cher took on new significance. The river marked the boundary between occupied France and the Free Zone, making the castle a gateway for resistance fighters smuggling people and supplies. The gallery, once a place of celebration, became a lifeline for those fleeing oppression. How did this elegant chateau become a beacon of hope in such dark times? A castle that lives and breathes. Today, Chenonceau Castle stands as a testament to the women who shaped it. Visitors can explore its lavishly decorated rooms, each a tribute to a different era. The bedroom of the Five Queens, adorned with tapestries and portraits, honors the daughters and granddaughters of Catherine de' Medici, who became queens across Europe. The kitchens, tucked beneath the castle, offer a glimpse into the daily life of the servants who kept the chateau running. And the gardens, designed by Diane de Poitiers and Catherine de' Medici, remain as beautiful as ever, their flowers blooming in a riot of color. But perhaps the most enchanting part of Chenonceau is its connection to the river. The gallery, with its arched windows overlooking the Cher, invites you to pause and listen to the gentle flow of water beneath. It is a place where time seems to stand still, where the whispers of history linger in the air. What stories would the river tell if it could speak? A legacy of beauty and resilience. Chenonceau Castle is more than a monument to the past. It is a living legacy of the women who loved and fought for it. From Catherine Brissonet's vision to Diane de Poitiers' elegance, from Catherine de' Medici's ambition to Louise Dupin's courage, each left her mark on this timeless chateau. Their stories remind us that beauty and strength can coexist, and that even in times of turmoil, grace can endure. Bran Castle, Romania, the fortress of legends. Deep in the heart of Romania, where the Carpathian mountains rise like jagged teeth against the sky, stands a castle shrouded in mystery and legend. Bran Castle, with its towering walls and Gothic turrets, is a place where history and myth intertwine, drawing visitors into a world of ancient secrets and whispered tales. Often called Dracula's Castle, it has become a symbol of Romania's rich past and its enduring allure. But beyond the legends, Bran Castle has a story of its own, a tale of kings, warriors, and a fortress that has stood the test of time. Join us as we journey through the history of Bran Castle, a place where every stone seems to hold a secret, and the shadows whisper of a past both heroic and haunting. A fortress born from necessity. Our story begins in the 13th century in a land caught between empires. The region of Transylvania, with its dense forests and rugged mountains, was a vital crossroads between East and West. To protect against invaders, be they Mongol hordes or Ottoman Turks, the Hungarian king, Louis I, ordered the construction of a fortress on a rocky cliff overlooking the Bran Pass. In 1377, the people of Brasov, a nearby town, were granted permission to build the castle, and thus Bran Castle was born. But what drove the need for such a formidable stronghold? Bran Castle's location was its greatest strength. Perched high above the pass, it controlled the trade routes between Transylvania and Wallachia, making it a key defensive position. Its thick walls, built from local stone, were designed to withstand sieges, while its towers offered commanding views of the surrounding valleys. Over the centuries, the castle would change hands many times, from Hungarian kings to Saxon merchants, each leaving their mark on its storied walls. Yet as the castle grew, so too did the legends that clung to it, like ivy. The shadow of Dracula. No tale of Bran Castle would be complete without mentioning its most famous association, Dracula. The legend of the vampire count, immortalized by Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, has cast a long shadow over the castle. But what is the truth behind the myth? Was Bran Castle truly the home of Vlad the Impaler, the ruthless prince who inspired Stoker's character? The answer is both yes and no. Vlad III, also known as Vlad the Impaler, was a 15th century ruler of Wallachia, notorious for his brutal tactics against the Ottoman Empire. While he never lived at Bran Castle, historical records suggest he was briefly imprisoned there in the 1460s after being captured by the Hungarian king. His reputation for cruelty, impaling his enemies on stakes, earned him the moniker Vlad Dracula, meaning son of the dragon. Over time, this dark legacy merged with local folklore, and Bran Castle, with its Gothic silhouette, became the perfect setting for Stoker's tale. But how did a fortress of stone become the lair of a vampire? The answer lies in the power of imagination and a touch of historical coincidence. A castle of secrets and stories. Step inside Bran Castle, and you'll find a labyrinth of rooms and corridors, each with its own story to tell. The castle's architecture is a blend of Gothic and Renaissance styles, its narrow staircases and hidden passages adding to its air of mystery. One of the most intriguing features is the secret tunnel said to connect the castle to the nearby village. Legend has it that this tunnel was used during sieges to smuggle supplies, or perhaps to spirit away treasures in times of danger. But what other secrets lie hidden within these walls? The castle's interior is a treasure trove of artifacts, from medieval armor to antique furniture. The music room, with its grand piano and ornate decor, evokes the elegance of a bygone era, while the armory, filled with swords and shields, reminds us of the castle's martial past. And then there is the royal bedroom, where Queen Marie of Romania, one of the castle's most beloved residents, once slept. Her story is one of grace and resilience, a queen who turned Bran Castle into a royal retreat and a symbol of national pride. What drew her to this remote fortress, and how did she leave her mark on its history? A castle reborn from the ashes. Bran Castle's journey through the centuries was not without its challenges. In the 17th century, it fell into disrepair, its walls crumbling under the weight of neglect. But in 1920, the castle was gifted to Queen Marie by the people of Brasov in gratitude for her role in unifying Romania. Under her care, Bran Castle was lovingly restored, its halls once again filled with life and laughter. Queen Marie, with her keen eye for design, transformed the castle into a royal residence, blending traditional Romanian craftsmanship with modern comforts. Her legacy lives on in the castle's decor, from the hand-carved furniture to the vibrant textiles that adorn its rooms. But the castle's story took another twist in the 20th century. After World War II, Romania's communist regime seized Bran Castle, and it was turned into a museum. For decades, it stood as a relic of a bygone era, its connection to royalty fading into memory. Yet in 2006, the castle was returned to Queen Marie's descendants, and today it remains a museum, welcoming visitors from around the world. How did this fortress, once a symbol of power, become a beacon for history lovers and vampire enthusiasts alike? A journey through myth and history. Today, Bran Castle is one of Romania's most iconic landmarks, its silhouette etched into the cultural imagination. Visitors can explore its many rooms, each offering a glimpse into a different chapter of its history. The courtyard, with its ancient well, is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who perished during the castle's sieges. The torture chamber, though chilling, serves as a reminder of the brutal realities of medieval justice, and the Queen's Library, with its collection of rare books, speaks to the castle's role as a place of learning and reflection. But perhaps the most enchanting part of Bran Castle is its ability to blur the line between fact and fiction. As you walk its halls, you can almost hear the whispers of Vlad the Impaler's ghost. Or is it just the wind? So the castle's connection to Dracula has made it a pilgrimage site for fans of the supernatural, but its true history is just as compelling. What is it about Bran Castle that continues to captivate us centuries after its stones were laid? A castle that lives on. Bran Castle is more than a fortress or a tourist attraction. It is a living testament to Romania's rich and complex history. From its role as a defensive bastion to its association with one of literature's most enduring characters, the castle has worn many faces. Yet through it all, it has remained a symbol of resilience, standing tall against the tides of time. As we leave Bran Castle behind, we carry with us the echoes of its legends, the clash of swords, the whispers of queens, and the quiet footsteps of those who once walked its halls. But our journey through Europe's most beautiful castles is far from over. In the next chapter, we will travel to the heart of England, where a fortress steeped in royal intrigue awaits. What stories will we uncover there? Stay with us and let's find out together. The Tower of London, a fortress of power and mystery. Standing on the banks of the River Thames, the Tower of London has loomed large over England's history for nearly 1,000 years. Built by William the Conqueror in the late 11th century, this iconic fortress has worn many hats: royal palace, prison, treasury, menagerie, and even a mint. Its walls, weathered by time, hold stories of kings and queens, traders and treasures, and whispers of the supernatural that echo through its ancient corridors. Though it's often called a castle, the tower is more fortress than fairy tale, a place where beauty meets brutality in equal measure. The White Tower, the heart of the complex, rises like a silent sentinel, its Norman architecture a marvel of strength and simplicity. Thick stone walls and narrow windows speak of defense, while the sprawling layout, towers, gates, and a moat shows how it grew under the hands of monarchs who shaped it to their will. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a magnet for millions who come to walk its grounds and feel the weight of history pressing down. A palace fit for kings. In its early days, the tower was a royal residence, a grand stage for England's monarchs. Henry III, in the 13th century, turned it into a palace of splendor, adding stained glass, cozy fireplaces, and a menagerie that housed exotic beasts. A polar bear once swam in the Thames, a gift from the King of Norway. His son, Edward I, fortified it further, raising the outer walls and digging the moat that still encircles it today. But the tower's royal story took a darker turn in 1483. Two young princes, King Edward V and his brother Richard, Duke of York, vanished within its walls. Were they murdered by their uncle, Richard III, to seize the throne? No one knows for sure. Their disappearance remains a riddle, their small shadows lingering in the tower's memory, a mystery that pulls us in and refuses to let go. Then there's Elizabeth I, a princess locked away by her sister, Mary I. She entered through Traitor's Gate, her future uncertain, her courage unbowed. Years later, she'd return as queen, her reign a golden age. The tower had tested her, and she'd passed. A prison of shadows. If the tower was a palace, it was also a cage. Its stones have held some of history's most infamous prisoners, their tales etched in blood and legend. Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's doomed second wife, arrived in 1536, accused of treason and adultery. She knelt on the scaffold, her head severed by a French swordsman's blade. They say she still walks here, a ghostly figure cradling her severed head. Sir Walter Raleigh, the dashing explorer, spent 13 years in the Bloody Tower, scribbling his history of the world between bouts of despair. Guy Fawkes, caught plotting to blow up Parliament, screamed under torture in these walls. Even Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, found himself here during World War II, a prisoner from a different age. The tower's dungeons, like the Salt Tower and Beauchamp Tower, bear their graffiti, names, and pleas carved into stone, a silent chorus of the condemned. Traitor's Gate, opening onto the river, was the last sight for many. Boats glided in, carrying the accused to their fate. Did they hope for mercy? Did they plan escape? Their stories hang in the air, daring us to imagine their final moments. A treasury of jewels. Since the 14th century, the tower has guarded the crown jewels, symbols of monarchy glittering with history. The imperial state crown sparkles with the Black Prince's ruby, a gem from the 1300s. The sovereign's scepter holds the Cullinan one, the world's largest clear-cut diamond. These treasures, locked in the jewel house, are more than objects. They're a link to England's past, forged in triumph and turmoil. Their story isn't all shine. During the English Civil War, Cromwell's men melted down the old jewels, a blow to royal pride. When the monarchy returned in 1660, new ones were crafted, their brilliance restored. Then came Colonel Thomas Blood in 1671, a rogue who dared to steal them. Disguised as a clergyman, he smashed the crown flat and stuffed it under his cloak, only to be caught steps from freedom. His audacity lives on, a tale that makes you wonder what drove him to risk it all. Legends in the shadows. The tower isn't just history, it's myth. Take the ravens. Legend warns that if they ever leave, the kingdom will crumble. So they stay, wings clipped, tended by the Raven Master. Named for Norse gods and Arthurian heroes, they strut the grounds, their dark eyes watching. Are they guardians or prisoners? You decide. Then there are the ghosts. Annie Boleyn's headless form drifts through the night. The princes in the tower haunt the Bloody Tower, their small voices lost to time. Arbella Stewart, a forgotten royal who died here, lingers in the Queen's house. The White Lady flits through the White Tower, and a phantom bear, echo of the menagerie, roams unseen. These stories wrap the tower in a shroud of mystery, blurring the line between fact and fable. Do you believe in spirits? The tower might just convince you. A legacy unfinished? The Tower of London stands as more than stone and mortar. It's a witness to England's soul. Monarchs rose and fell within its embrace. Prisoners scratched their last hopes into its walls. Treasures gleamed, and legends grew. As you trace its paths, from the White Tower's heights to Traitor's Gate steps, you feel it. History isn't done here. The ravens caw, the jewels gleam, and the ghosts wait. What secrets remain buried in these ancient stones? Step closer, listen carefully, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find out. Prague Castle, Czech Republic, the crown jewel of Bohemia. In the heart of Europe, where the Vltava River winds through a city of spires and cobblestone streets, stands a castle that has witnessed over 1,000 years of history. Prague Castle, perched high on a hill overlooking the Czech capital, is not just a fortress, it is a sprawling complex of palaces, churches, and gardens that has served as the seat of power for kings, emperors, and presidents. Its silhouette, dominated by the majestic St. Vitus Cathedral, is a symbol of Czech identity, a place where the past and present intertwine. As we journey through its story, you'll discover how this ancient castle became a living testament to the triumphs, tragedies, and enduring spirit of a nation. What secrets lie within its walls, and how has it remained a beacon of beauty and resilience through the centuries? A fortress born from legend. Our tale begins in the 9th century, in a land of warring tribes and shifting alliances. According to legend, it was Princess Libuš, a wise and prophetic ruler who foresaw the rise of a great city on the banks of the Vltava. "I see a great city whose glory will touch the stars," she proclaimed, and on her command, a fortress was built on the hill that would become Prague Castle. While the legend is steeped in myth, historical records confirm that the castle's origins date back to around 880 AD, when Prince Boživoj of the Přemyslid dynasty established a wooden fortification on the site. But what transformed this humble fort into one of the largest castles in the world? Over the centuries, Prague Castle grew in size and splendor. By the 10th century, it had become the political and spiritual center of Bohemia, with the construction of the first stone buildings, including the Church of the Virgin Mary. The castle's strategic location offered both protection and prestige, making it a coveted seat of power. As Bohemia's influence expanded, so did the castle, evolving into a complex that would house kings, Holy Roman emperors, and even the Bohemian crown jewels. Yet with power came conflict. What role would the castle play in the turbulent history of the region? A stage for kings and emperors. In the 14th century, Prague Castle reached new heights under the reign of Charles IV, the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Bohemia. A visionary leader, Charles transformed the castle into a Gothic masterpiece, commissioning the construction of St. Vitus Cathedral, whose towering spires would dominate the skyline for centuries. The cathedral, with its stunning stained glass windows and intricate stone carvings, became a symbol of Bohemia's golden age. But Charles's ambitions extended beyond architecture. He sought to make Prague the cultural and political heart of Europe. What legacy did he leave behind in the castle's stones? The castle's role as a center of power continued through the reigns of subsequent monarchs, each adding their own touch to its ever-evolving design. The old royal palace, with its grand Vladislav Hall, became the setting for coronations, banquets, and even jousting tournaments. The hall's vaulted ceiling, a marvel of late Gothic architecture, seems to defy gravity, its ribs curving like the branches of an ancient tree. But the castle was not just a place of celebration, it was also a stage for intrigue and rebellion. In 1618, the Second Defenestration of Prague, where Protestant nobles threw Catholic officials from a castle window, ignited the 30 Years' War, one of Europe's most devastating conflicts. How did this single act of defiance change the course of history? A Castle Through the Ages. Prague Castle's story is one of constant transformation. In the 16th century, Emperor Rudolf II brought the Renaissance to its halls, filling the castle with art, science, and alchemy. His obsession with the mystical and the unknown turned the castle into a hub of intellectual curiosity, attracting scholars and artists from across Europe. The Golden Lane, a narrow street within the castle complex, became home to goldsmiths, alchemists, and even the writer Franz Kafka in the 20th century. What secrets did these tiny, colorful houses hold? And how did they shape the castle's unique character? The castle's architecture continued to evolve, blending Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles into a harmonious whole. The royal garden, with its manicured lawns and elegant fountains, offered a peaceful retreat from the bustling city below. The Belvedere Palace, a Renaissance gem, showcased the castle's artistic flair, its copper roof gleaming in the sunlight. But beneath the beauty lay a fortress that had to adapt to the changing tides of history. During World War II, Prague Castle fell under Nazi occupation, its halls echoing with the footsteps of oppressors. Yet even in its darkest hour, the castle remained a symbol of Czech resilience. How did it survive the ravages of war and emerge as a beacon of hope? A castle of legends and lore. Prague Castle is not just a monument to history, it is a place where legends come to life. One of its most enduring tales speaks of the golem, a creature of clay brought to life by Rabbi Judah Loew in the 16th century to protect the Jewish community. According to legend, the golem's remains lie hidden in the attic of the old new synagogue, just a stone's throw from the castle. Another story whispers of the ghost of a headless knight who roams the castle grounds, a reminder of a long-forgotten betrayal. These tales, whether fact or fiction, add to the castle's mystique, inviting visitors to step into a world where the line between reality and myth blurs. What other secrets does the castle hold? And how do these legends shape our understanding of its past? The castle's connection to the supernatural extends to its architecture. The Powder Tower, once a laboratory for alchemists seeking the philosopher's stone, is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who dared to unlock the secrets of the universe. The Daliborka Tower, a former prison, echoes with the legend of Dalibor, a knight who learned to play the violin while awaiting execution, his music still said to drift through the night air. These stories, passed down through generations, remind us that Prague Castle is more than a historical site. It is a place where the past refuses to rest. A journey through Bohemia's heart. Today, Prague Castle is one of the largest ancient castles in the world, its complex covering over 70,000 square meters. Visitors can explore its many wonders, from the awe-inspiring St. Vitus Cathedral to the tranquil Lobkowicz Palace, home to a priceless collection of art and music manuscripts. The Golden Lane, with its quaint houses and artisan shops, offers a glimpse into the lives of the castle's former residents. And the changing of the guard, a daily ceremony at the castle gates, connects the present to a tradition that spans centuries. But perhaps the most captivating part of Prague Castle is its ability to transport us through time. As you walk its courtyards and climb its towers, You can almost hear the whispers of kings and courtiers, the clash of swords, and the quiet prayers of monks. The castle's panoramic views of Prague, with its sea of red rooftops and golden spires, remind us of the city's enduring beauty and resilience. What is it about Prague Castle that continues to draw us in, century after century? A castle that lives on. Prague Castle is more than a relic of the past. It is a living symbol of the Czech Republic's journey through history. From its humble beginnings as a wooden fort to its role as the seat of presidents, it has stood as a witness to the nation's triumphs and trials. Its walls, a patchwork of architectural styles, tell the story of a people who have weathered invasions, revolutions, and rebirths, yet never lost their sense of identity. As we leave Prague Castle behind, we carry with us the echoes of its history, the grandeur of its halls, the beauty of its gardens, and the legends that linger in its shadows. But our journey through Europe's most beautiful castles is far from over. In the next chapter, we will travel to the sun-drenched coast of Denmark, where a castle steeped in Shakespearean lore awaits. What tales will we uncover there? Stay with us, and let's find out together. Kronborg Castle, Denmark, the castle of legends and kings. In the far north, where the winds of the Baltic Sea whisper tales of Vikings and kings, stands a castle that has guarded the shores of Denmark for centuries. Kronborg Castle, with its towering spires and weathered stone walls, rises from the edge of the Øresund Strait like a sentinel of history. Its silhouette, framed by the endless sky and the shimmering waters, has inspired poets, playwrights, and dreamers for generations. But Kronborg is more than just a fortress. It is a place where history and legend intertwine, where the echoes of Shakespeare's Hamlet still linger in the air. As we reach the final chapter of our journey through Europe's most beautiful castles, let us explore the story of Kronborg, a castle that has stood as a symbol of power, artistry, and resilience. What secrets lie within its walls, and how did it become one of the most iconic castles in the world? A fortress born from the sea. Our tale begins in the 15th century, in a time when the seas were the highways of trade and the key to a kingdom's wealth. King Eric of Pomerania, a ruler with a keen eye for strategy, saw the narrow Øresund Strait as a golden opportunity. In 1420, he ordered the construction of a fortress on the coast of Helsingør to control the strait and collect the sound dues, a tax on every ship that passed through. The fortress, originally named Krogen, was a simple yet formidable structure, its walls built to withstand both the waves and the ambitions of rival nations. But what drove King Eric to choose this windswept corner of Denmark for his fortress? The answer lies in its location. The Øresund Strait, separating Denmark from Sweden, was one of the busiest shipping lanes in Europe. By controlling this passage, Denmark could amass great wealth and assert its dominance over the Baltic Sea. Over the next century, Krogen grew in size and strength, its towers rising higher, its walls thickening. But it was not until the reign of King Frederick II in the late 16th century that the castle would be transformed into a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture. What vision did Frederick II have for this coastal fortress? A Renaissance jewel on the Baltic. In 1574, King Frederick II embarked on an ambitious project to rebuild Krogen into a palace fit for a king. He enlisted the talents of Flemish architect Hans van Steenwinkel, who infused the castle with the elegance and symmetry of the Renaissance. The result was Kronborg Castle, a name derived from the Danish words for crown and castle. Its grand halls, ornate chapels, and intricate tapestries made it one of the most magnificent palaces in northern Europe. But Kronborg was not just a place of beauty, it was a statement of power, a symbol of Denmark's golden age. How did this transformation reflect the spirit of the time? The castle's ballroom, with its soaring ceilings and walls adorned with paintings of Danish kings, became the setting for lavish banquets and royal celebrations. The chapel, with its carved wooden pews and gilded altar, hosted weddings and coronations, its sacred space a testament to the intertwining of faith and monarchy. And the casemates, a network of underground tunnels and chambers, served as a reminder of the castle's martial roots, where soldiers once stood ready to defend the kingdom. Yet for all its grandeur, Kronborg's story was far from peaceful. What challenges would this Renaissance jewel face in the centuries to come? A castle at the heart of conflict. Kronborg's strategic importance made it a target during times of war. In 1658, during the Dano-Swedish War, the castle fell to Swedish forces after a brutal siege. The invaders looted its treasures, stripping the castle of its riches and leaving its walls scarred. But Denmark's spirit was unbroken. Under King Christian IV, Kronborg was restored to its former glory, its defenses strengthened, its halls once again filled with art and light. The castle's resilience mirrored that of the Danish people, who refused to let their heritage be erased. But how did Kronborg's role evolve as the world around it changed? By the 18th century, Kronborg had transitioned from a royal residence to a military barracks and prison. Its once grand rooms housed soldiers and officers, while its dungeons held prisoners of war. Yet even in this new role, the castle remained a symbol of Danish strength. It was during this time that Kronborg's connection to one of literature's greatest works would take root, a connection that would forever change its place in history. What drew the world's most famous playwright to this distant fortress? The castle of Hamlet's ghost. In the early 1600s, a young playwright named William Shakespeare penned a tragedy that would become one of his most enduring works, Hamlet. Set in the fictional Elsinore Castle, the play tells the story of a prince haunted by his father's ghost and consumed by revenge. While Shakespeare likely never visited Denmark, scholars believe that tales of Kronborg's grandeur and its strategic importance inspired his choice of setting. The castle's imposing presence and its location on the edge of the sea made it the perfect backdrop for a tale of intrigue and betrayal. But how did Kronborg come to be known as Hamlet's castle? The connection was cemented in the 19th century when performances of Hamlet began to be staged at Kronborg. Today, the castle hosts an annual Shakespeare festival where actors from around the world bring the play to life in its courtyard and halls. Visitors can walk the same ramparts where Hamlet's ghost is said to have roamed, their footsteps echoing through the centuries. The castle's King's Tower, with its panoramic views of the strait, offers a glimpse into the world that inspired Shakespeare's imagination. But is there more to Kronborg's legends than just a play? The legend of Holger the Dane. Deep within Kronborg's casemates lies a legend that predates even Shakespeare's tale. According to Danish folklore, Holger the Dane, a mythical warrior, sleeps beneath the castle, his beard grown into the stone table before him. It is said that when Denmark faces its greatest peril, Holger will awaken to defend the kingdom. A statue of Holger, carved in the 19th century, now sits in the castle's depths, his eyes closed, his sword at the ready. The legend of Holger speaks to the castle's role as a protector of the nation, a symbol of strength in times of uncertainty. What other stories lie hidden in Kronborg's shadows? The castle's dungeons, dark and damp, are said to be haunted by the spirits of prisoners who perished within their walls. Visitors report strange noises and flickering lights, as if the past refuses to rest. Whether these tales are true or simply the product of imagination, they add to Kronborg's mystique, drawing those who seek to uncover its secrets. What is it about this castle that continues to captivate us centuries after its stones were laid? A castle that lives on. Today, Kronborg Castle is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its architectural beauty and its role in shaping European history. Visitors can explore its many wonders, from the opulent banquet hall to the eerie casemates. The castle's maritime museum, housed within its walls, tells the story of Denmark's seafaring past, while the royal apartments offer a glimpse into the lives of the kings and queens who once called Kronborg home. But perhaps the most enchanting part of Kronborg is its ability to transport us through time. As you stand on its ramparts, the wind in your hair and the sea stretching out before you, you can almost hear the clash of swords, the laughter of courtiers, and the quiet whispers of a prince lost in thought. Kronborg is more than a castle. It is a bridge between history and legend, a place where the stories of the past live on. A farewell to our castle journey. As we leave Kronborg Castle behind, we bring our journey through Europe's most beautiful castles to a close. From the fairy tale towers of Neuschwanstein to the rugged beauty of Donan, from the elegance of Chenonceau to the mystery of Bran, each castle has offered us a glimpse into a different world, a world of kings and queens, warriors and dreamers, legends and lore. These castles are more than just stone and mortar. They are the keepers of our shared history, standing as testaments to the beauty, resilience, and imagination of those who came before us. Thank you, dear listener, for joining us on this enchanting journey. As you drift into sleep, may the stories of these magnificent castles linger in your dreams, carrying you to distant lands and timeless tales. Rest well, and let the whispers of history guide you into a peaceful night. Good night.